Hello everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to this virtual Summer Quest 2021 program, which is a teen tiny art. The design was actually inspired by one of the designs for the theme this year, which is Tails and Tales. So we are going to be painting a seahorse. So if you signed up for an art kit, then you should receive the following. You should get a blank 4x4 canvas, a tiny easel, one paintbrush, a seahorse stencil, which was kindly provided to us by painter Victoria Goebel for this project. And you'll receive 6 paint pots with the following colors. Turquoise or light blue, yellow, orange, teal green, white, and dark blue. So that's what you'll receive in your art kit if you signed up for one. If you didn't sign up for an art kit but you have these supplies at home, you are certainly welcome to follow along and use the instructional video to do the painting. I also recommend that you have a paper towel or newspaper to put down so that way you don't get paint everywhere, and also have an extra paper towel to help clean your brush. You should also have a cup or some other container to put water in so you can clean your brush between colors. And I personally find this helpful if you have like an old plastic lid or paper plate or something like that. That can be helpful if you need to mix any colors to make anything lighter or darker. So, without further ado, let's get painting. So the very first thing you'll want to do is take your seahorse stencil and cut it out, and then you'll want to place it on your canvas. Wherever it is you're going to want your seahorse to be. You can have it over here, you can have it over here, however you want. You can angle it, however you'd like. If you end up wanting to draw a second one, if you want to trace this twice and have like one over here and have another one over here, you could do that if you'd like. You'll just have to do twice as much work with the seahorse then. So I'm going to put mine right here, and then you'll want to take a pencil and go ahead and trace your seahorse here. It doesn't have to be perfect, because it's always perfect. But it's to do the general outline. If you want to use similar lady, you certainly got to like, but make sure that it fit on the canvas. So things like that. Make sure they fit. So just little bumps and there we go. And if you want to approximate where the eye is going to be, there we go. So then you have your seahorse all traced out there. And if you need to make any adjustments, if the tail's too thick, like mine turned out a little bit thick, I can always adjust that with erasing a little bit and retracing a little bit. So make sure you do any adjustments that you need to before you put it on your easel. Okay, once you have your seahorse drawn and adjusted the way you wanted, and it's up on your easel there, we want to take some yellow, and I'm gonna just kind of brush this across the seahorse. Since they live in tropical oceans for the most part, it's okay to go across the lines. We're going to have a much more impressionistic kind of ocean around it, so just kind of swipe it across. There's going to be a little bit of glow in the water, so you want to keep So it's okay if the yellow goes across the seahorse, but you don't want any other colors going into the seahorse at this time. So once you've got some yellow on there, then you'll want to take your brush, clean it off real good, and then get some blue, some of the light blue, and also put that on, and that can mix with the yellow. Just have these kind of, the majority of the area is going to be, you know, blue, but you're going to have some green where the blue mixes with that, and I'm going to get a little white in there as well, and mix that with the blue, make it a little lighter, more impressionistic. I'm just going to kind of mix some of that. The yellow just leaves sort of broad sweeping. Again, just don't get any of the blue into the lines of the seahorse. It's okay if it's around, but you don't want to cross over into the seahorse itself. And a little more white in there, have a lighter section of the water. These are just, you see I'm just doing these kind of broad. It looks much greener on camera, but yeah, it looks kind of dark on the camera, but it's actually mostly blue. Some lighter parts, just a little bit of, I want to make sure we blend that with the yellow. If you need to add a little bit of water onto your brush to make the colors blend a little better, you can do that. I have some darker blues down here. And some white up here. And again, you can make this look however you want. You want to do it just all solid blue, you can do that. If you want to mix a little bit more of the other colors in there, you can do that as well. If you want to add a little bit of yellow anywhere to make the section a little greener, you can do that too. Pretty much however you want the water to look there. Just kind of sweeping. Again, the great part of all of this is that if you don't like something or the way something looks, you can always paint over it, and that was totally fine. Like, you can blend it or you can wait until it's dry and then paint over it. There's no right or wrong answer. And don't forget that if you have an edge to your canvas, some canvases are completely flat, other ones like mine have a bit more of an edge to them. Just don't forget to make sure you paint the sides as well. Ooh, I had a little bit too much water on my brush there, so I'm just gonna have to spread that out a little bit more to make that work. I'll have to add a little bit more paint because I added a little bit too much water to my brush, but that's okay. So we're gonna let this dry before we go to the next stage anyway, so just in the middle. This will feel better. So it is water, so it's going to have this kind of messy watercolor-ish look to it, so that's totally fine. Again, if you don't like that, you can just do straight blue over everything and just do it that way. But I'm trying to give you a little bit of a challenge for today, so if you want to do that, you certainly can. Alright, and then when you have things looking more or less the way you'd like it, then we're going to go ahead. I think I'm about done. A little more white, like there's some light coming in. So when you have this looking, whoops, as my easel starts to fall. When you have this looking more or less the way you want, then we're going to let this dry completely before we go on to the next step. Okay, so once your canvas has dried, then we're going to take the teal green And now we're going to be doing seaweed. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do a sort of a ribbon sort of shape. And you kind of want to twist your brush a little as you're taking it down, so that way it gives kind of a, the seaweed is waving in the current kind of thing. This works better if you have brushes that stiffer, I guess, than these fellows. These are just kind of general purpose brushes, so they're not exactly perfect, but they get the job done more or less. If you want, you can mix a little bit, put a little dab of white in with the green, so you can get some slightly different effects. Even a little tiny bit of yellow. And they don't all have to be the same height either. You can, you know, some of them can be, you know, kind of shorter. Some can be shorter, some can be thicker. So you can see there's a couple, so we're gonna do a couple more like that there. And you want a couple to go like kind of behind your seahorse as well. So that your seahorse is that's three-dimensional. Yeah, it looks right there. Sometimes try to move on so over the top. So you might even this, the ones that are darker, you can move some of that out, and the ones that are lighter, so you want to forward. Use some mixtures of color. There we go. Other ones. And on. Putting the crystals on. And you can get a little bit of colors in there to distinguish the different. So, you can see, sometimes you can pull that a little more. You know, that's fine too. So yeah, if you want, you can continue doing seaweed all the way across, or you can just do part of the canvas and we have a couple more little sections of seaweed down here. But I do the rest of it. There we go. So now we've got a nice little seaweed forest. So once your seaweed is done to your satisfaction, now we will return to the seahorse itself. So now you will want some orange. We are going to start accenting the seahorse. So you'll want to go right along the fins and the crest there. Try to just use the edge of your brush for this part. That'll give you a little bit of more control over it. It would honestly be better with a finer brush. It's just with the kits and everything, we have to use sort of a general purpose brush. It'll get the job done. You just have to be careful. And again, if you go over where you're not supposed to, it's okay. Every seahorse is going to be a little different, and we can just make it up as we go along. And that's here. Just using the edge of the brush right here. Cool. Go, alright, and go down his face. Just use the edge of the brush there. And a little edge in the cheek. Clean brush. So yeah, little combination and just sort of blend that. A little more. And a little bit dark. There we go. Okay. So there you go. So you see we've got a little bit of water on my brush, just a little tiny bit, and just blend that. Then we're going to add a few highlights in white. Just make a little bit of my brush here. A little bit of highlighting. Okay, so that's highlighted along the belly there. A bit of kind of a dabbing texture along the back from the little spines there. So now we're going to clean our brush, and we're going to take our dark blue, and what you're actually going to do is you're going to use the end of your brush, so the end on the handle, that's the little bump, and you're actually going to stick that in the paint, because we're going to add spots. And believe me, it is a lot easier to do these spots with the pointy end, with this end of the brush, than it is the other. So we are going to make little dots along the crest here, along the back fins. And as we get closer to the tail, we'll want to make the dots smaller and closer together. So just be aware of that. And then we'll need to go down. Roughly lining up with the upper ones. And then do another row right along here. There we go. And one big dot for the eye. Okay, so before we do our final bit of highlighting, we're going to go ahead and wait for those dots to completely dry before we continue, because we don't want these to smear. Okay, so we'll give that a moment, then we'll add our last bit of highlighting there, okay? Just make sure you clean off the end of your brush so you don't accidentally poke yourself with blue paint. The one thing you want to be careful of with the blue dots is you see that I accidentally started putting some right in there. I'm actually going to take a little bit of orange and yellow, and I'm going to cover up these guys right in there. I'm going to have to wait for it to completely dry before I finish fixing it. They were not quite in the proper alignment. So you see you have this row going up here, we've got the row going down the front and the row going down the spine. So it can be easy when you're making the little dots, just keep that in mind. So once everything has completely dried, then I'll go back and touch that up, and we will continue with the final highlighting. Okay, so now that all of the blue dots are dry and I fixed my little mistake there, we are going to take a little bit of white, teeny tiny bit, and then we're just going to do some highlighting here. There we go, that's better if you make your brush a little bit damp, because seahorses have this kind of ribbing along them because they're bony fish, and so that's what we're trying to kind of indicate here with the white. And the white's showing up really bright on the camera, but it's actually not quite that sharp on my canvas, so some of these blue dots got kind of covered up. So we'll have to go over that with some blue again. And now I'm going to get some orange. And I want to sharpen up along the outside edge here. to give the belly definition and sharpen it up against the background with that. And then I want a little more definition here at the throat and with the cheek. And then right here, the nose. There you go. So now I'll just have to go over some of the blue dots again because those kind of got dulled down a little bit. So we'll take our... And there we go. We have a seahorse and an ocean there. Hopefully you folks enjoyed this little tiny art, and we hope to see you again for another one.
We hope that you've enjoyed making your seahorse painting. Be sure to take a picture and post it to our social media pages. We look forward to seeing what you've created. We also hope you will join us for these following exciting programs. 2D versus 3D animation on June 29th. Magician Mike Rose will be with us every Tuesday the month of July. Teen Photograph Contest will be the month of July. Mike Greenhold, Animation Supervisor for Netflix, will be with us on July 27th. You'll be able to meet local author Jared Reck discussing his brand new book on August 3rd. And finally, meet other teens on our Discord server.